As I'm sure our listeners know, on May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who knelt on his neck for 9 minutes as Floyd repeatedly cried out that he couldn't breathe. This is just months after what occurred on March 13th, 2020, when police officers on a drug warrant broke into the wrong house and brutally murdered Breonna Taylor, who was sleeping in her bed, a 26-year-old Black emergency room technician.
These are just two examples of countless incidents of police brutality, specifically police brutality directed toward African Americans and people of color. According to a 2018 analysis by the Scientific American, about 96 African American men per 100,000 are at risk for being killed by police, which is over double the risk for white men. This is a race issue.
Our current law enforcement system is largely derived from slave-catching squads back in the 1800s. Racism is systemically embedded in American law enforcement as it was specifically designed to enact violence on Black Americans. Elements of policing like excessive access to lethal weaponry, toxic masculinity, rampant racism, the private prison system, the school-to-prison pipeline, policies like the war on drugs, unfair funding, lack of officer accountability, gender disparities in police departments, limited required training, and countless others contribute to the racist and militant policing we have today. We support Black Lives Matter protesters and activists in their quest to bring accountability to violent officers and in rebuilding this unfair and dangerous system.
If you want to get involved in this fight for justice, some organizations to donate to include the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, the North Star Health Collective, which supports healthcare workers and extending aid to protesters, the Community Justice Exchange, which allows you to donate bail funds to your city and other cities where protesters are being arrested, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, and George Floyd's official GoFundMe. Or call your senators and demand accountability for your local police officers, defunding police departments, and demilitarizing force against protesters. Ultimately, Haley and I are educators, and if you have questions about the Black Lives Matter movement, white privilege, systematic racism, or what you can do to fight it, feel free to DM us on Twitter or Instagram, or email us at nightclassypod@gmail.com, and we are happy to do the best we can to help.